10 seconds left. The first turret's going to go down. They still have minions. There comes the initiation on the Zion Spartan. A lot of damage on Scar. Scar does not have Zonius, but he does take a lot of damage. Zion picks up the kill. Patoy getting shot as well. They go for another turret. The respawns are coming. The Nexus going down. Can Coast do it? Patoy CCing everyone. And here comes Kiwi Kid. AD carry falls down. They go for the Nexus. They get it. Coast turns it around and grabs the win.
One of the closest games that we've seen in a long time.
Welcome back, everyone, to week number 1 of the North American LCS Summer Split. Now, before we get into our next match between Vulcan and Counterlogic Gaming, I'd like to welcome Team Coast's top laner and recent high school graduate, Zion Spartan, to the desk. So, Zion, I want to talk to you about, there's a lot to talk about in that game. Let's start early game, because your champion select here, you went for a Riven and just dominated your top lane.
Yeah, so Riven's just one of the champions that fits my playstyle. She's really strong late game, and if you get ahead, she snowballs really hard. So that's kind of like the playstyle I look for. Champions that snowball really hard and that are great when you get ahead, get advantages in lane so that you can carry your team and kind of just like help them out, which I almost actually threw that last game, which was really scary. I was like, hey guys, let's go bottom, and then Zach jumps on our whole team, and we're all just freaking out, and wow, that was just a crazy ending to that game.
Yeah, seriously.
So when games do get that close and it's down to the Nexus versus Nexus both exposed, every second matters. Who is the voice on your team that you guys are all listening to at that point, and how does the communication go down?
Well, I'd usually say it's like me, Don't Mash Me, or Nintendo that calls something, and I was like, hey guys, let's go bottom. Really useful to be able to parts of the map, and pressures felt all across the map, and you really make a meaningful impact.
So I want to ask you a follow-up then on playing a melee champion. You mentioned that you were able to get on Scar and kill him, but you never got on the AD carry, on Cutie Pie, who's normally such a valuable threat to get rid of. What do you do when you're melee and you're just getting kited all day by an AD carry?
That's one of the points when you're just like, okay, I'm just going to stop chasing this guy. I spent about 2 minutes chasing I'm a Cutie Pie through a jungle, and he had the Iceborne Gauntlet and like 40% cooldown reduction. I couldn't catch up to him, so I just kind of needed to be like, okay, I can't catch him. I'm going to try to kill the people in the team fight I can catch, and when he gets in a vulnerable position, then I'll jump on him and try to kill him really fast, because he's still really squishy, but he's just hard to get onto. So I just have to focus what I can, because you can't get too tunneled onto one champion. Like on CLG double lift, everybody will start focusing and they're like, oh, we got to get double lift, got to get double lift. But then that kind of works out to their advantage, because they're all trying to tunnel for this 180 carry when the rest of their team is just tearing them apart. So you need to just focus what you can sometimes.
So it sounds like when you guys are making your picks, you focus a lot more on your own champions and your own lanes. What is your idea on this tank jungle fiddlesticks, and how do you guys adopt to having that one on your team?
I definitely love having tank
You
fiddlesticks on my team because I can just build full carry. That game I didn't really build all damage, but usually I love to go like stack Bloodthirsters on Riven and just do a bunch of damage. It's like you're another carry. And with tank fiddlesticks, you just get all this CC and like tankiness. So instead of just building tanky on a top laner, I can just build more damage, and then I do more damage, and then we already have utility from the jungler. So when I get all this extra farm, I get to use it to my advantage more because I'm not building tankiness, I'm building more damage.
Cool. So final question for you before we send you on your way. You guys are off to a pretty good start here in this split. Of course, second place last split. You got the world playoffs, potentially in your way. Where do you how do you see yourselves going in the rest of the split here?
I just think we have to work out a couple things, and I definitely think we can finish first in the split. Cloud9 looks really strong, but I think when we played them, we were up in the early game. We just made a couple mistakes that we can fix just through practice and stuff. And I think Cloud9's definitely beatable, and I think that we can take first. And I think we just need to work out a couple of things, and we'll be fine.
All right, Zion, thank you very much, and good luck to you in your quest for first place in the split. We'd love to see you guys in the World Playoffs and crushing faces here in North America. Now, guys, we've got more matches today. Both Counterlogic Gaming and Vulcan have a lot of respect for their opponents, but that doesn't mean that the Bulgarian gangster and his crew will be looking to put the hurt on Counterlogic's new roster.
CLG's new roster is pretty interesting. I'm interested to see how they'll perform.
I see Vulcan's potential. I think they're really good, actually. They're probably still a top 3 LCS team. I don't know exactly where they stand, but their roster is really solid.
CLG right now, I feel like the beginning of the season is definitely going to be a roller coaster.
Chaucer, being in the Sabora now, he'll be able to control double left a bit more.
For Nian going top and Big Fat going jungle, it's a lot to work around. They're definitely all good players. It's definitely going to take them time to adjust.
All strong individual players and decent teamwork, so it's going to be hard games against them, but we can hopefully pull out a victory.
And now it's time for our 6th match of the day, Vulcan versus Counterlogic Gaming. And CLG is coming off their second win of the season after taking down Curse in another exciting back-and-forth game.
Just like their first 3 games, CLG fluctuated between making incredible plays and big mistakes. This time they made just enough plays to come out with the victory. They also used a different comp than we're used to seeing from CLG. They had a lot of other damage dealers and spread around the kills. It wasn't all double lift. In fact, Nian Tonso came up big in this game, and so far this summer, he's been able to make plays in the late game after he's done with the laning phase.
So excellent job by him. Yeah, he's going positive so far just after being new to the role. So CLG is riding high after the last win, but Vulcan comes into this game off one of their worst losses in the summer at the hands of TSM.
Vulcan got behind early. They lost their blue buff and gave up first blood, and after that, there was nothing they could do to stop the bleeding. But Vulcan have some confidence coming into this game. The last time they played CLG, they knocked them out of the playoffs and into the summer promotion tournament. Plus, ManCloud, we have to mention him. We can't talk about Vulcan without mentioning ManCloud. He's been playing very solid for Vulcan this entire summer. He's very resilient. Even when he gets behind early, he's been able to come back and make game-changing plays.
And what's really impressive about that graphic as well is he's had some games where he had a 1-in-5 start or a 1-in-5 end result, and he's still coming out positive in this league so far. So a lot of great All-Stars there. And of course, let's take a look at the rest of these All-Stars here. Take a look at the starting lineups. The blue side, it is Vulcan. Psycho Sid in the top lane, Smithy in the jungle, Mandatory Cloud in the mid lane, Zuna on AD carry, and Bloodwater the support.
And on the red side, it's CLG. Nian Tonso's up top. Big Fat LP is in the jungle. Link is middle, double lift on AD, and Chauster supporting.
So guys, we're about to head into Champion Select, but first, let's take a look at who you guys think is going to win this matchup. According to LOLesports.com, 63% of you guys think that CLG will win their second game of the day.
Some confidence right here. They think, CLG's on a roll, and they've gotten so much practice already this week because all their games have been so long that maybe they're getting more comfortable in their new roles.
I think they're getting a lot better. They're doing pretty well overall. Nian's shown up, and he's done great. So Champ Select has begun. We're going to see what kind of adaptations they make. I know a while ago we said, yeah, people aren't going to ban against Nian until he proves himself, but he's starting to here.
Yeah, and it's interesting how they talked about the switch between him and Link, the Vladimir and Jace. They're not afraid to switch around those champions and keep people guessing, which is a really useful tool when your solo laners can just play so many characters because it forces the solo laners of your opponents to just use default general runes instead of making your rune page specific, because that's a really, really overlooked tool. If you go like full magic resist page versus somebody because you know you're going up against a mage, then it can make a huge difference early game.
I actually like what happened with the Team Coast sub as well, where Jinte came in for the top lane and played Orianna. The shifter kept playing Zed, and it actually worked beautifully for him. So the bans, of course, have come through, and Vulcan are saying, yes, please, rise on Mandatory Cloud, please be our carry.
Very quick with these bans. It's interesting to see that Orianna ban first as well against CLG, because Link has had some really great Orianna play as well, mentioning Jinte over there. Both of them have very strong Orianna mechanics.
It's also fun to see blue side ban on Twisted Fate as well. Normally, I guess not anymore. Normally, we don't see him 100% of the time in North America. It was approaching that at the end of last split, but here after the nerfs, he's been a little bit less prioritized. Instead, though, Counterlogic Gaming, we saw the Nocturne once before. The Karthus I actually really like a lot from Link. We'll see if they lock him in. They do.
This is actually, sort of a comp that's very similar to TSM. They love going with those globals. If they can get their hands on multiple globals, then, they can stack so many ganks in their favor and just play reactively. And CLG loves to play reactively. So they can patch up their sort of shifty laning phase by having people with extra globals to join the fights from other lanes. Shen is even still up, so you could combo a Shen on top of that Nocturne even.
And we've seen how much people love to gank double lifts lane, the extra globals there. You're absolutely right. I love the idea here from Counterlogic Gaming, trying to shore that lane up. However, Vulcan, they've got their own ideas. They pick a lot of early game power in that Thresh and Caitlyn.
And late game with the Ryze as well. We've seen so many Ryzes just become ridiculous powerhouses late game because he just scales so well. It's a really nice mix here. I like the first 3 picks for them. Thresh, always extremely nice to see on your team because, like we say, the Dark Passage, that Lantern, opens up so many more gameplay opportunities, and Bloodwater has just been going back to Thresh over and over, even over his adored Sona pick.
Yeah, you're right. He did pick it over Sona. Now Link's going to grab that up for Chowster here in this match, but what I like kind of looking at is it's weird to me because, so first of all, CLG have grabbed Kog'Maw. They've grabbed a late game AD carry. I'm not surprised to see that whatsoever because it's double lift. They're going for the late game, but interestingly, Zuna as well, he's not picking as much late game himself.
Zuna, they've had some misses when he does go Caitlyn. You're right. She's not like a bad late game champion, but she's not his Tristana. That's really the signature hyper carry late game. So it's interesting that they're actually going to be putting a lot of focus on that Ryze if they do get to the end game hyper status.
Yeah, all right.
I saw you get you twinkle in your eye when you picked that one.
I just kind of started ignoring what you were saying. It was like, as soon as he stops talking, I'm going to say Xerath. So Xerath and Nasus, of course, Jungle Nasus being grabbed up here, but the Xerath is making his way back into the North American LCS, Kobe. I like that one a lot.
Xerath was, a popular pick for a couple weeks in the middle of our spring split, and it's because of that long-range burst damage. This is really interesting, especially when Vulcan specifically picks Xerath, because they have multiple players that actually play Xerath. Smithy, they've said in the interviews, is one of the best Xerath players. They believe he's even better than Mandatory Cloud at Xerath. So usually when we see role swaps, we'll have a Draven or something for Mandatory Cloud to go on to, and they haven't picked that up. So it'll be very interesting to see if, Smithy's maybe trained Mandatory Cloud a little bit on that one, or if they actually are going to do a couple role swaps here.
Well, the summoner spells tell me right now that Smithy is still staying on the jungle, but we'll see what they end up doing out of that one.
Could be tricky.
It would be tricky. I mean, there's definitely a chance. Of course, these players can't see each other's summoner spells. They have no reason to really lie with them right here. So I'm going to guess they keep this one and they rock the top lane Ryze. However, I do want to talk about the fact that Counterlogic Gaming are picking up York. We saw TSM run that before, but they're grabbing some extra zombies to go with their zombies.
So they're going full TSM here.
Yeah.
Y'all, okay,
we're going full TSM here.
We'll leave that one. We'll see how it works out. After this, you may or may not want to go full TSM. But yeah, Karthus going to have a buddy there with the undead theme. It looks like they decided to leave Shen out of this one. It's been such a popular duo that I'm interested to see what the York is going to bring that Shen wouldn't, because having a Shen ult on top of your Nocturne when he dives in is just, it's one of the most strong dives that you can actually have. They're the strongest dive buddies.
Yeah.
The reason that they probably didn't do that is because Big Fat LP builds complete tank Nocturne. He doesn't even build damage on his Nocturne. We saw him not even be able to take out a red lizard there in the late game after 60 minutes in, and he can't even take down this red lizard. So it's because he's so tanky already. Probably won't need that extra Shen shield.
So I actually have a couple of questions on some interesting interactions here because, so Xerath is super long ranged, but Big Fat LP's ultimate is going to cut his vision down really, really, really short. And I'm wondering how much that's actually going to hurt ManCloud's ability to snipe the back line.
It depends on, how well GG does with Nocturne. I don't know if a lot of early adopters of Nocturne, they'll just use the ultimate for a gap closer. But really, I've always said the sign of a good Nocturne is leaving your darkness up for the duration and then using the second active of it after you've already gained the benefits of that vision denial, because that is one of the strongest CCs and most overlooked CCs in the game is vision denial. Like the Nocturne ultimate or the Grave Smoke Bomb are really, really overlooked tools.
Okay, so let's see how they end up using these tools when the game does kick off. Counterlogic Gaming in the red side, looking to keep their stuff going. Vulcan in blue, spawning in the bottom left, and right now CLG are very much waiting for an invade toward them.
We've seen so many invades that it's really not much of a surprise that they're waiting on the red side, because all through the early part of today and yesterday, every team was invading red side of the opponents. Red side, red side, red side. But this time, they actually don't go for that Wraith Ward, which we've seen almost everybody go for.
I gotta say, the read by Vulcan is impressive then. I mean, I don't know if there's anything that you haven't just said, but you're right. They predicted that CLG is going to wait for the red side ward. They get the wards on the blue side instead, and now CLG says, well, that level 1 didn't work, and we don't have any wards down right now.
Yeah, well, that one didn't pay off. Good effort, guys, though. I definitely follow that research. I understand why they went with it. It was just a good move there by Vulcan. They have great vision of the blue buff of Counterlogic Gaming. So since their AD and support of Vulcan are down on that blue side, and it looks like Nien is going to be down there, it definitely is advantage Vulcan right now as far as jungle invades go, because they already have vision of that golem.
So right now then, it's actually interesting because we have basically Season 2 style lanes. You've got the red team swapping their double lane to the top, and then we have the standard mid laners in mid right here. So it is a safe lane here for that double lift Kog'Maw. He's going to be able to happily scale throughout the game.
You definitely want to be wary of a late game Kog'Maw. We talked about late game Tristana, but he's always the second champion that you mentioned when you talk about late game hyper carries. And it's because the range that he can gain when you activate your W is right on par with a level 18 Tristana.
That's going to be fun then. Let's see if Double Lift can carry this team indeed, because they're running just 2 damage threats here. That tank Big Fat LP, Nien, not going to be too painful in general on York, but Smithy, though, he's looking for a little something on the right-hand side, and he actually forces Big Fat back. Yeah,
so that ward I was talking about on the blue buff definitely pays off right there. But CLG, great job. They already had both sides of this mid lane warded, so at least Big Fat LP doesn't have to pay for this one with his life. He's just going to be a little bit further behind as far as experience is concerned in the jungle. And Smithy smiting that one away just in case.
Yeah, so the 2 blues going over to Vulcan's side, and there's really nothing in the jungle left for Big Fat LP. We're just going to watch him suffer in his own jungle. Nien Tanzo actually in a bit of an interesting spot because he's getting 1v3'd, now 2v3, but Big Fat's very low level.
Level 1 Nien as well, and level 2 Nocturne means that they probably won't go for this dive because turrets do a lot of damage nowadays after we tune them up a little bit. So it's very, very risky, and you don't really see too many of these, early 3-minute tower dives anymore, unless you do have one of those champions like Zac that has an extra free life because of his passive.
So right now it's just the pressure on the turret. Instead, hook comes off on an end, though. Good amount of damage, dropping York down below half health. Great pickup there. Good hook, good everything to Bloodwater. This turret's taking some pressure, but I do want to look at the top lane because that one's taking way, way more. They're basically ignoring Psycho Sid and chunking his turret down.
That's definitely a conscious decision by CLG, just focusing the turret instead of going for harass. Meanwhile, we had the opposite here down bottom for Vulcan. They were going for harass every time they could head it. Now they're switching they're switching up their game plan. They're trying to burn it down because they see what CLG are doing, and it's probably going to be CLG taking the first one, but a quick answer from Vulcan.
Certainly. So right there, 150 gold picked up for every member of Counter Logic Gaming. That 2-on-1 worked beautifully for them and put Psycho Sid at only 5 minion kills. We'll see what these guys end up doing if they come back to the other lane or if they keep pushing over there. We've seen CLG actually sit there and like just keep split pushing that 2v1 for a long time.
Yeah, we actually still have a bunch of wards on Sona. Chowster could. Oh, here we go for the dive.
Ooh, they got some damage. Big Fat LP level 4 gets the hook onto him. This is not good for CLG. Zuna putting out the damage. Can they donate the kill properly? Yes, Zuna getting the 400 gold for first blood.
Sometimes you forget when your turret's getting real low like that and you stick around too long, they're immediately going to take the opportunity and jump on you. Big Fat LP, he flashed away, but great hook there from Bloodwater. They were able to follow that one up. First blood plus equalized towers.
So beautiful, beautiful early game. These Vulcan players have put themselves at a 500 to 400 gold advantage. Psycho Sid is still chilling up in the side lane, trying to catch up for a pretty rough 1v2.
He's doing his best to farm up there, actually using a lot of spells since the wave is already at the turret. Since the dragon's going to be gone here, it would actually be a decent idea for him to freeze that lane for as long as possible so that he could get CS, because after the dragon's already gone and there's no way you're contesting that, you're not going to give up anything else this early in the game. So freezing is actually the best choice at this opportunity.
All right, so let's actually watch then as Psycho Sid.
Well, it's already built up, so.
Sure, certainly. He's up to, yeah, it'll push out a little bit, but I still want to kind of keep track of those minion kills because at one point, Sid was at 5 to like 14 of Nien, and we're seeing that turn back around a little bit. I want to see if that Rise can keep the scaling going and really explode into that late game after his lane stopped being so terrible for him.
It looks like this is going to be a double push now. The mid going to take a lot of harass right here. Wither's great for just keeping those defenders at bay.
So yeah, there's a lot of AoE coming back and forth. And look at just the amount of spam that Vulcan can do. The Xerath Nasus combo just eviscerate minion waves.
Great job here by Vulcan, not letting up the pressure. After taking that bottom turret, they send 4 people mid, and now, since there's a big creep wave, they are going to push with Psycho Sid, so he's switching up from just last hitting. Now he's going to try and get a lot of damage on that top turret. Just kidding. They're breaking off on that strategy, sending Caitlyn bottom to deal with this Kog'Maw and all the free farm. So yeah. Psycho Sid going to stick around here and go heads up. Level 6 to level 4 versus Nien, but no mana means probably no kill.
No, not so much. So it's Nien trying to go for something. It looks like that mid lane push was just not doing quite enough for him. So Zuna's going to heads up against Double Lift. That Kog'Maw, though, is level 6. He's starting to scale through this one. And actually, look at the minion kill leads between these AD carries. You have a late game AD with a 20 minion kill lead over an early game AD carry.
This is huge. The experience advantage that Psycho Sid has up top over Nien means that that mana pot is going to actually give him some teeth. And he could pressure if he wanted to. The only thing is he's backing off because he's scared. No wards, and there's no presence from the rest of his team elsewhere on the map. He could go heads up with Nien and overextend right there if the rest of his team were pressuring either mid or bottom right now. But since they aren't, it's that one-pronged problem that you run into. You can't have one person shove a lane by himself. You have to shove in multiple places to force CLG to react.
So let's see what Vulcan does then to put multiple prongs out on the table and make CLG actually do something about their early aggression. Certainly Vulcan are still looking quite good with a 700 gold lead. Some aggressive wards as well. Bloodwater got one across the wall in towards that blue area of CLG.
Looks like we have 4 people down bottom, and you have to note that we've hit the point where the globals are now coming into play. Remember, Nocturne available and Karthus also available, so they actually can turn around whatever gank Vulcan decide to go with here. And Mandatory Cloud, it's really up to him to land a long-range stun on Link and try and interrupt that Karthus ultimate.
So how paralyzing is that then for Vulcan? You just said that these globals will turn things around. They've got to hope they can like stun a Requiem out. They're against CLG, who are happy to sit there and scale into late game. Heck, bottom lane's about to get frozen here. What does that do to your mindset when you're like, well, we can't jump in, there's a Nocturne and Karthus?
Exactly, it's very scary for them. They have to let Double Lift freeze that. There's not really an answer for Vulcan unless they want to give up another objective in favor of stopping that Double Lift farm. So really, what they need to do is focus elsewhere on the map and make double lift pay for sitting down there, because that is a resource for CLG that's not available for defending. If Volk can turn all their attention top or middle and they are actually able to push in, then it won't be a huge loss for them.
Well, we do see a lot of pressure top. It is 3 people right there, the jungler plus the standard dual lane. Vulcan are putting some good pressure on this turret at the beginning, but look at that. Counter Logic Gaming send their own members to the top lane and stop that push.
Yeah, so 3 top for each team means that that's probably going to be a stalemate, but really the advantage of double lift being bottom means that Vulcan have their extra person in middle, and they do get the turret.
And look at that, actually. Double lift, as a response, even started pushing down on the bottom lane. It was going to be a freeze. He said, no, you're putting pressure on the rest of the map. I'll start putting pressure on the bottom lane. He's turning it around.
That just means that we're going to have Ryze rotate bottom, though. He'll get there in time to clean up a lot of those minions, actually. And you can see he even went the safe way. Psycho Sid didn't want a chance going through the tri-bush. So he's going to come in from double lift from behind here, know that he's blind, and go for this kill.
Oh, he's Rin Prison just outside of turret range. The ult comes off from the Requiem, actually. That's actually Psycho Sid taking a bunch of pain. Ignite was burned on a double lift, and he's actually safe for that one. But the push in the top lane is where it's really at right now. Neontonso taking a bit of damage. Xerath comes in, flashes for it, but doesn't quite have the range to deal any more damage. Zuna gets exhausted. Xerath, ManCloud finds the kill. Great job there, picking up Neontonso. 2-0 to Vulcan.
Looks like Smithy lessons on Xerath are paying off here from ManCloud. Does get in there for the kill to finish them off, and that means 4 versus 3 at this turret. Xerath is great at sieging. He can continue to deal damage if you're stuck under the turret trying to farm, but the rest of the members of Vulcan too low, so they don't want to chance it, and they're actually going to recall right here.
However, Psycho Sid managed to find his way into a bit of a lead in the bottom lane. He actually pushed double lift out of the lane and is getting more shoved. That sort of, actually, I guess at this point it's a one-pronged attack, but got some pressure on the bottom.
Now he's going to have to go back and purchase. This will be the next sort of stacking item for Ryze. We're seeing Psycho Sid go with that carry Ryze build that is the tier into the Rod of Ages that makes you deal so much damage late game.
So scaling up consistently as this game moves forward. The thing is, like, it's a little bit early, but we're talking about a CLG game here where it's gonna go to 70 minutes like all of their games have so far. And so I gotta kind of ask you the question of the late game scaling. I know we hyped up Kog'Maw a heck of a lot, but you know, that late game carry Ryze build is something to be worried about for CLG.
The thing about this late game Kog'Maw is he's got a York on his team as well. So you potentially have 2 late game Kog'Maws shooting at you. And if he pops that Bio Arcane Barrage, then he gets plenty of range. And he'll be safe for a while until Vulcan have to spend a lot on diving him, because, you know, they've got the long range of Mandatory Cloud, but that won't be enough to 100% double lift in the late game. And this extra Dragon Gold going to CLG right now is going to go to fund that the double lift fund here.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to build that BF sword into that Infinity Edge.
That is really impressive by CLG, that despite the kill deficit they're under, they're actually doing a very, very good job of taking neutral objectives here. Mid lane second turret under fire. CLG, you know, is a good push by Vulcan. They got it down to half as sort of a retribution for Dragon going down, but CLG have defended it.
It's pretty funny, too, that we're seeing like a similar arms race from both sides. Yeah, Ryze is going to scale up because he's got tier and he's going to go into the Rod of Ages, but Karthus also built a Rod of Ages, and it looks like we've got Yorick over here with the Muramana going for that one. So it's going to be a pretty much even race to the end of the game here. We're going to have to see if it's going to be a play made by Mandatory Cloud, catching somebody out with the stun and ulti combo with that Xerath, or if they're actually going to have to wait for Big Fat LP's initiations and have Nocturne be the one being the playmaker.
There's actually something interesting about ManCloud I want to bring up, though, is, you know, we talk about Xerath trying to sort of one-shot people and burst his combo down, but he's actually gone for kind of low AP. He's gone for the early Athene's Unholy Grail, spending 3 grand on only 60 ability power.
It's kind of the Reggie sort of idea where he's getting cooldown reduction and mana regen, so Reggie's not afraid to just burn his ultimates constantly as soon as they're off cooldown. It's kind of the same idea here. If you rush Athene's, then you're going to have that up more often, and he can use that to chunk someone low. You know, he might not be able to 100% them, but if you can chunk them low enough that they have to back off of an objective, then that's a win for your team anyway.
Oh, cool stuff then by Mandatory Cloud, going for the objective base, not the kill base Xerath. We've seen a lot of teams really do that. The TSM interview, we said that we don't really go for kills unless they turn into something, so we go for kills to grab turrets and kills to grab dragons, and we try to capitalize there. So Vulcan making a lot of good choices. That vision ward, though, really keeping Xmithy in the dark and stopped CLG from knowing exactly what's going on. But again, another top lane push here for Vulcan.
And even though CLG are ahead in gold, Vulcan are in the driver's seat. They're making all the decisions here, coming back to top, getting some nice damage on it.
It's very, very low, this turret, but a little bit of counter engage there from Chouster is making Zuna think about his decisions a little bit. He's scaling up, though, and there is double if so. 3v3 for this turret. CLG refuses to give up structures on this map.
Good thing that Nian just picked up, that Negatron cloak too, because he's going to try and heads up versus Rise and keep that one down. Chouster with the flash crescendo.
He does land that, the dive in. Big Fat LP right on top of Zuna. The Flay knocks him backwards, box as well. There's the Requiem landing, and will CLG turn anything back around? Xmithy wants to go back in for this fight, but look at the Void Ooze from Double If, stops the chase in. Good disengage.
Requiem is down now though, and the ultimate from Rise, you can just burn that one willy-nilly, whereas Karthus is going to have to wait a long time to get that one back up. Thankfully for Link, he was wearing a blue buff at the time.
Ooh, just out of range for the last shot. Recall's in place. ManCloud's just going to wave clear a little bit here. Link shoved out of lane, and as you mentioned, the low cooldown ManCloud ult only going to take 33 seconds now for that to be back.
He's got a blue buff of his own right
Yeah.
there. So he can take pot shots at Link under his turret and get another wave there. It looks like that pressure that he just created mid is going to allow a few more hits up at this top turret. If they do just a couple more, they keep on returning back to this last standing perimeter turret of CLG.
Q's one and gets landed right back out.
Fade
a
away
little bit of farm. So the fadeaway Q from Smithy, giving him 3 more damage next time he hits somebody with Siphoning Strike. Counterlogic Gaming, they've been doing a very good job of controlling dragons this game, despite losing a few turrets, but it's kept them pretty good in gold. Their trek on the way to late game is holding up quite nicely.
And they do have Nian again going bottom, and he's got 1 ward, so he can actually stick down there for a while. Like we said, Yorick has so much sustain, spamming out his ghouls. Now that he has that Merman for the mana regen and the Negatron cloak to dissuade Rise from going all in. Looks like Link even going to join the party here.
He wants to get some damage onto this turret. It seems the minions are going to fall down. There's still a bit of a minion wave left here for CLG, and they're just chunking this thing down. That's going to be a turret actually equalized. Great roam by Link is going to bring this turret lead back to equal.
Yeah, look at top though. I mean, Zuna's working on that top one. Nobody's in the area. The only thing would be if Zuna got scared by not having any wards in the red side jungle of CLG.
It looks like he didn't get scared enough. He will net back to the brush and recall out, but another turret trade happens. So Vulcan makes this now 3-2 on turrets. And it's weird, both these teams, they're pressuring turrets occasionally, they're showing up for it, but no one's fighting too hard for these objectives. They're kind of content to play laning phase.
Well, it's really interesting if the fight's going to happen over Dragon, because both AD carries just finished their Infinity Edge. They're pretty much basically even right now as far as item power goes. So the next Dragon that comes up in 40 seconds is really going to be a hot point over here, because there's only 1 turret down here, 1 turret left up for Vulcan on the outer ring, whereas CLG have none left.
That is going to be an interesting thing to consider there, as Vulcan, they're trying to poke out. Look at that, they're already posturing here for Dragon. They've got, oh, I took that back, they've got actually Rise running to the top lane, so unless he comes back down, I'm trying to follow what Sid's doing and see if they're going to go for Dragon or not. Looks like he is going to make his way back down. Puts a ward down. Vulcan does know the timer on this. They're going to have all 5 members ready. Though the interesting thing is Zuna is currently pushing down to the bottom lane, so they're actually creating pressure somewhere that isn't Dragon right now on the map.
It looks like we're going to have CLG leak over down to that Dragon. We have an Oracles on Chaucer as well, so they can clear out the vision. And now is Vulcan's choice whether they want to contest the Dragon or go for a turret.
A little bit of damage in a big fat LP does shield away the ult burst, but the 5-on-5 has maybe begun. Double If takes an ult, takes some poke as well. This Dragon rapidly losing health right here. The smite could come in. Smith looks for it. No, red team is slain Dragon, and here's the battle. Double If exhausted, flashing towards the back. He's been doubled up as well. Bloodwater takes so much pain right here. Big Fat's trying to disengage. Has Ignite on it, has made his way out. 1 kill for nothing so far. Will CLG keep going for the fight? ManCloud still trying to poke back. The fake Double If runs in and says, yeah, you can kill me, but that is still Dragon and a kill towards Counterlogic Gaming.
So at the beginning of that fight, Zuna was coming from the bottom river, and he walked all the way around the Dragon to come from the same side of his team. And Bloodwater initiated because he hit that hook onto Double If, but it was a little bit early, and Zuna wasn't quite in position. That was the small difference between Big Fat LP going down, whereas Bloodwater had already been bursted.
So the second turret is going to drop in mid as payment, but Neon Tanso going to take a lot of damage there, force a flash away. Big Fat's going to shield some of the damage as well, and the siege is actually still on. Despite losing the fight, a counter turret comes in here for Vulcan.
They've also got a really big wave from CLG pushing top, so Vulcan probably want to send at least one person over to clear up that giant pot of gold.
Zuna's going to take a lantern on his way back to base as well. Bloodwater says, hey, come with me. There's a giant pot of gold up here. I can dig one up with a recall animation, but I'd like if you took one from the minions.
Shaster getting back to work, clearing wards over here. There's actually two in that bush, Shaster. Go searching for it.
Yeah, he's got it. All right, Shaster's making his bank right here. The Oracle's paying a couple of dividends there. He's already paid off more than 10%. Good stuff, good stuff. So,
and look at the difference in auras here. Because Big Fat LP always goes, full tank. He actually first got a Madreds, but he's got a completed Bulwark, whereas we still have Smithy working on his Aegis of the Legion. So in those full 5-on-5 team fights, they actually do have a slight upper hand as far as the auras are considered.
And that's going to help them deal with really Psycho State and Mandatory Cloud, that double AP team, triple if you really count the Nasus. The Rush Bulwarks definitely seeming to help them. Even Neon Tanso, you mentioned the Negatron Cloak a while back. He's turned it into a Spirit Visage, so he is getting quite tanky as well.
And that adds a lot of cooldown, which is amazing for York too. So you can keep on spamming out those ghouls. Here we go. Double F looking for the 1v1 though. Zuna's in trouble.
Oh, he's not even going to get the Requiem. Doesn't even let Link weigh in on that one. Mandatory Cloud's going to clear mid lane. Double, that was really nice.
Yeah, he just sort of walked up there. I said before, when Zuna was extending to get that top turret, he might get scared because he has no wards. Looks like he's still not scared, but this time he definitely paid for it.
Maybe it's going to make him a little bit more honest in the future. Double finds himself 300 gold here and 188 minions. I just kind of want to call out those two in particular because we've been watching this race develop, and Doublelift is up over 500 gold, over 600 gold now over his opposition as far as AD carries are concerned.
Interesting that Link is going full damage right after that Rod of Ages too. I'm happy to see he's aiming for that death cap because we always like to see the very powerful Requiems. It's kind of disappointing when they hit and only take off a few hundred, or when they don't hit at all in the situation we saw before where Doublelift finishes off the target before he even gets a chance.
So the high damage, the name of the game here for this Counterlogic Gaming lineup. They've got Neon Tanso to revive them anyway if something goes awry. The double Kog'Maw, as you mentioned, definitely a scary late game carry. So Zuna, he's just being donated this side lane farm. They're still trying to get him to that 6-item AD carry status, even on Kate.
They definitely need that power from the back line too, because ManCloud's going to try and stay back there, and he actually gets free spell penetration from that. Doublelift does get withered as well, and there's going to go the ultimate. They might engage off the back.
They put a lot of damage. He's down below 1/4 health. Has to take a quick heal from Sona, but the chase might be on. There's the Nocturne you mentioned, kind of blinding the vision here from Vulcan and maybe saving a couple of lives there. Vulcan, they don't seem done though. They're still pushing down mid lane.
So the Nocturne ulti will be down, but they still have Yorick ulti, plus Doublelift has Infinity Edge, but Zeal combo now. They're going to have two of those Kog'Maws firing from the back line.
This is going to be a rough spot then. If Vulcan decides they want to take this battle, it's going to be a close one. The heal has come in from Doublelift. He is going to be back in this battle very, very soon. Close to Phantom Dancer as well, so he is scaling nicely. Vulcan take a couple of shots in the turret. Zuna disengages. We'll see if they keep playing the siege game. ManCloud's ult is back right now.
Yeah, they're slowly chipping away at it, and ManCloud with that blue buff, he's going to have maxed out cooldown reduction. He can continually poke. This is the reason why you pick Xerath, so you can poke from this long range when you keep them pinned up under turrets. He works so well when you have a Caitlyn on your team, so you can get those free shots on turrets while Xerath is poking off the other team.
Definitely doing a lot of damage right there. However, a bit of a counter engage onto Zuna just from Doublelift actually dropped him below half health. So looks like Kog'Maw's got some artillery of his own to answer for the Xerath poke. And Chaucer is trying to sustain his team back up. Vulcan, they're not giving up the chase. They're still staying in this mid lane.
Vulcan would love to keep this siege up as long as possible without getting hard engaged on because of the giant minion wave bottom. And they have the confidence to do that because Big Fat LP had used his Nocturne ultimate to shield Doublelift and used the vision denial to make sure he didn't get bursted. So they know Big Fat LP will not be jumping in on them anytime soon.
Chouster's running very, very low on mana. He's actually forced to recall back to get his funds back so he can heal his friends up. That bottom lane push we talked about, Double F has been sent to go take it, and Vulcan are not yet reacting to it.
They could just swarm in behind Double F right here. Really risky move. It looks like he's going to try and get back under the secondary turret.
He's going to have to cleanse away. Flash actually as well. He burns both his summoner spells as price for a couple of those minions. Link gets pulled in. The burst comes across. He's forced to flash out as well. Vulcan's still going strong.
Both summoner spells for 5 minion last hits right there. Not a very optimal trade, and now a lot more damage going down on the mid turret.
Yeah, that's going to be still great stuff here. The summoners are down, but the health bars are back up. Counterlogic Gaming still not wanting to relinquish their base, still wanting to fight for territory. They said, okay, you got some of that. We're back, though. Get off my lawn.
Vulcan start retreating. Double Lift stops to take a nibble of that cupcake, and now he'll be rejoining the rest of his team. Looks like we're going to be on the back foot now. CLG will be the ones sieging. They don't really have the team for it. They'd rather fight around something, you know, like this dragon, and they have the oracles to make it happen.
Oh, the flash crescendo comes on in. They're going to dive on a mandatory cloud. He's forced to flash away. The wall of pain doing a bunch of slows as well. They're still focusing ManCloud. He's trying to run away. Look at Double Lift, though, completely safe in the back line as well. Requiem comes across. His Link falls over. ManCloud's going to drop. The Intel's taking a bit of damage as well, and Vulcan are just forced to retreat. 2 are dead, and that's a team fight win for CLG, and they're like, yes, we're going to take Baron, maybe.
Great job by CLG right there, setting up the trap. The oracles on Chauster paying off. They knew no vision from Vulcan. Vulcan assumed they were going to go just take down Dragon, and they ventured out just too far. A fight in the open for CLG. It looks like they set up another trap over here.
They're baiting it, but look at how safe Zuna is playing. He knows he can't steal by himself, but they have Smithy coming in from the wings. This could be an attempted steal here. The double Kog'Maw is out. Smithy gets spotted. They put some damage on there. They will actually engage with the Voidus. The damage up on Smithy. The jungler is likely to fall over. Chouster low on health, but they get the 1 kill for free. Zuna's milling around right here, but CLG are forced to run from this.
That's actually a good trade there. You know, Smithy sacrifices his life to make sure they don't burn that Baron down. We have Karthus. He's notorious for being able to just murder Baron, but they made him use so much mana that they were not able to continue on that one after Smithy sacrificed his life.
And speaking of that Karthus, not a lot of mana, didn't go Archangels, but did finally finish that death cap you like so much. So Link is getting nice and huge. He's finally finished that one up. Nian Tansu, though, still going tanky, adds a giant belt to his repertoire.
And something else to note about the, Karthus spamming his Defile for extra damage, it does cost more mana. So if you just leave it on like that when you're at the low mana, then you'll actually get better return. Looks like they're going to get the consolation prize. Go for Dragon instead.
On the Dragon, not the worst thing to grab. Zuna's going to get the red buff at least, so something answered back from the jungle for this Vulcan squad. And Smithy, promise you guys I'd keep up with the Siphoning Strike, so he's actually maxed it last. It's still only rank 1, but he's at plus 150 with Siphoning Strike, so approximately 50 last hits there, doing a bit more damage there, Smithy. See if he can keep that one going up.
Yeah, and Smithy actually spent some more money on his boots to upgrade those into Home Guard instead of finishing that Aegis of the Legion, so they're still without that, defensive aura that everyone puts so much emphasis on in team fights.
Smithy's only at 575 gold right now, so he's I forget if it's 650 or 625 for the combined, but he's got a little bit more to go till the Aegis comes up. And of course, Big Fat's like, yeah, I've had Bulwark for like 20 minutes. What are you doing, dog?
Big Fat doesn't care if he doesn't do any damage, though. He's all about full tank Nocturne.
It's working pretty well for him with that. And the thing is, actually last fight, Big Fat took all the damage. He tanked everything and made it a 2-for-1. It ended up being a 3-for-1 when they killed Smithy afterwards.
He's fine with just being a distraction here. He said when he took over the jungle role, I will be the most annoying jungle in the entire league. All he wants to be is annoying, because as a mid laner, most annoying thing for him was opponent junglers.
Here we go. Big Fat's going to dive in on ManCloud. Actually blocks the Wither. Beautiful spell shoot by him. And the engage comes by. The counter engage maybe out of Nian Tansu. ManCloud still the target here. No, they go in on Bloodwater. Bloodwater flashes out, puts the box down. Devlin gets up the kill. There you go. Chouster taking a bunch of pain. Forced to crescendo. He's trying to run, but no. ManCloud turns that one back around. 1-for-1 so far in this fight. Supports have fallen. CLG now the team forced to retreat.
Link channeling the Requiem from the back meant that he couldn't add any wall or lay waste over to that fight, and so it was sort of an interesting trade right there. They both do lose the supports, but Vulcan now want to take this siege, and they have their most important champions up for it, the Zuna and as well as the Smithy as well.
Oh, Link! 200 health! Oh, he's a flash of the Q, and ManCloud nearly snipes that one out. Thankful flash from Link, but the turret, it's going to go to Vulcan,
There it is.
and they've got to run for an angry Kog'Maw.
Caitlyn with the last shot on, excuse me, the last shot to take down that turret.
And Zuna stood with the retreat antics, shooting a net, and then the built over Peacemaker while in the air. Bit of damage on a Neon. So, of course, that guy's not built a lot of armor. He's much more worried about Psycho Sid. Counterlogic Gaming, though, Baron is still on the table, and they're starting to move towards it. They've got the Oracles.
This is really dangerous, though, because this is where so many teams have thrown the game. CLG even have thrown the game several times in this Baron pit. They have a lot of damage, though. Karthus has blue buff, so they can burn it down really quickly, and they're going for it.
Roll-up-in goes across it a little while ago. It's, of course, timed out now. Baron above half health and is regenning back up. Vulcan did scare CLG successfully.
They're going to pay for this one. They have 2 minion waves pushing right now. Vulcan are not going to let them rest. They're going to go straight for this inhibitor. It's exposed already.
They're a little haggard, though. Zuna a little bit low on health, not much mana. Smithy kind of in the same place as well. They're running for that middle inhibitor, but the home guards are back in. CLG, they're not going to let them make him pay
That's
for
all.
it.
Yeah, they still are. That's all they wanted, was to draw CLG over to the mid so that this bottom lane wave at least is going to run into that turret, and CLG will lose out on all of that minion farm.
Absolutely right. Good call, Kobe. And a good call, of course, to Vulcan. That right-hand side turret, by the way, down to about half health right now. So the minions just by themselves have been making work. If they ever get an ace, Vulcan can choose to go down any one of those lanes they want. CLG, though, they have kept their eyes on Baron. They're going for it again.
This Magnet is strong over here, and this time they pop the York ultimate. This is an all-in.
This is a lot of damage coming out, but the Double Lift ult will come out fairly soon. A lot of damage coming across on Baron. They're going to re-engage. Smithy taking a bunch of pain. He's getting dropped down. Shouster in the back line has to force to flash away. Smithy on the retreat. Big Fat LP. The Requiem comes across. That's going to find Mancloud a kill on a Shouster, and it's Vulcan looking for the fight. They jump in on Niantanto. The stun. Is it going to land? Yes. Will they keep engaging? No, because the slow field is there. Oh, another poke coming out. Actually, wow, Mancloud refusing to let CLG rest. Where will Vulcan go next?
Mancloud is such a ridiculous force in this game. I don't know why they keep saying Smithy's such a better Xerath than Mancloud, because he's definitely proved himself here. And Vulcan have made CLG pay once again for starting up the Baron. I feel like CLG needs one of those ready checks when they're going to call a Baron. They need all 5 people to check yes before they're going to do it.
They were on board, but I think they didn't actually ask Vulcan, because Vulcan was like, no, we're not ready for you to take Baron. We're gonna contest this. Thank you very much. Please stop. Let him regen. Thank you. We'll take a kill in the process, and just turn it right back around.
Smithy gonna farm up bottom. He does not have a teleport or anything, so this is another sort of chance, I guess, if CLG have not done with this Baron area. They can at least clear out the wards.
Well, Smithy is about 100 gold away from completing Runic Bulwark. It seems like Vulcan are just a little bit doing Smithy farm so he can finish big items. And they're saying, oh no, but Mancloud, he's forced to flash backwards. Big Fat put down the spell shield, hoping to block a stun. Didn't need to, though. Summon a spell burn, good move.
Yeah, face checks right into the Sona right there. Very dangerous. Good thing he had flash up, because that was going to be a dead Mancloud.
He did take Chaucer's Exhaust, actually, so it was a Summoner Spell trade, not necessarily one lost. You got to decide for yourself which one you think is more important for these teams. Vulcan, the thing is, it's weird, because both these teams know, like, Baron has been forcibly by CLG the objective that's been contested this game right now.
They're really going to have to manage their minion waves now, too, because we have to remember that that mid inhibitor turret is still down for CLG, so Vulcan don't have to force anything around Baron. They can go straight up the middle here and force a fight around an inhibitor without having to work around any sort of towers.
That's going to be a little bit of an easier thing here for this Vulcan squad, because they've been poking so very well, and as Zuna grabs his red buff, this might open up opportunities. Yeah, look at that. Mancloud's grabbing blue, or maybe Sid. Okay, Mancloud grabbing blue, and Zuna has grabbed red at the same time. All the buffs have just been grabbed for Vulcan.
And Rise has just, you know, he's got both of his stacking items, so Sid's doing as much damage as he's going to get. From this point on, he's just going to start getting tankier and tankier. So this is the point where Rise transitions, really. He does a lot of damage before, and he's that machine gun, but now he's going to be even harder to take down. His next buys will probably be some resistances.
Yeah, 30 mana left on the Archangel till it becomes a Seraphs, and then the tanky Rise will begin. Even the shield's going to help him on top of those resists. So look out, Psycho Sid's about to go postal on this one. The rest of Vulcan are... No, they're not actually grouping up. They're stalling it out a little bit and letting Zuna, with Baron on the map no less, letting Zuna go bottom lane right now.
And to allow Zuna to do that, we have Bloodwater placing some more wards around Baron so that will delay CLG if they decide to force something around there. It'll give Zuna the time to walk back up. It's very dangerous to go bottom lane for either team at this point in the game, but if you're able to pepper that Baron area with wards, it's hard for CLG to make 100% commitment.
Okay, so let's actually keep the train of thought on these AD carries because they're still maturing throughout the game. The quick check on gold puts them only 200 gold apart, so Doublelift and Zuna have the same access to items. But what I really want to call out is the differing in builds, because on one side you've got IH Phantom Dancer Last Whisper, on the other is IH Phantom Dancer Blade of the Ruined King.
So when you have Blade of the Ruined King, you do get that extra percentage health damage, but he's missing out on that armor penetration that you would get with the Last Whisper. So it's pretty good against Nasus since he gets all that bonus HP from his ultimate and everything. It's just the targets that stack armor, which really you don't have Ryze getting a bunch of armor yet. So it's actually a pretty good choice here. Wow, that was a nice chunk out of Chowster.
So you mentioned the low cooldown Xerath build, paying dividends there. Almost got him, but either way, it's forcing him really out of the fight. So Vulcan have retaken control over the middle of the map, and let's see where they go with it. Nowhere, back to base. They took mid lane, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to get a chest of gold, and we're going to buy some stuff.
Interested to see what item threshold that was for, and it was for that Bulwark Combine. So they wanted that full aura to be there before the next team fight.
And a new Oracles as well was bought up on Bloodwater.
Holding on to that one in his inventory. You know, you don't want to pop that in your base. You gain an extra few seconds by waiting. As long as you have the inventory space, might as well hold on to it until you're actually out in the field.
And of course, the Baron Dance has been really the story of this game. CLG have tried to take it down like 4 times. Vulcan have actually always shown up in time to stop them, but it's been the source of a lot of battles here. It's where all the tension has come from on this map. The Oracles just, they're playing the Vision game a heck of a lot. I mean, this reminds me a little bit of Counterlogic Gaming Europe versus WE back in the World Playoffs with just like 1 million ward kills. They're just trying to contest neutrals here.
Yeah, I mean, this has really been the story of the Counterlogic Gaming North American summer splits.
Yeah.
It's every single game. They go really, really long with them. And it looks like this is going to be no exception. Now Vulcan finally have the complete items that they were looking for. Gonna go for that contest of this exposed inhibitor that we pointed out, you know, what, 10 minutes ago?
Yeah,
15 minutes
Turret's
ago.
been dead. Turret's been good and dead, Vulcan. It's on you guys.
Doublelift is recalling right now, so they have a few seconds without Doublelift there, but no moves being made by Vulcan. They're very hesitant here, and it's really going to be up to CLG to go for that hard initiation.
Put some damage onto York. He's got the Warmog's armor put up as well. So he's got the Muramana for damage, and everything else is saying, I want to be a tanky man. And now Vulcan still looking to be the aggressors here. Maybe put some damage onto the inhibitor. It's starting to lose health finally. W see him try to poke down Azuna with the living artillery. That's kind of the only moves made by CLG right now.
And keep your eyes on Doublelift to see what he uses that cleanse on, because there's a lot of CC here for Vulcan. There's going to be the Wither that's definitely going to go onto him. And then ManCloud has such long range that if they ever actually do fight, then he's going to be looking to land the long range stun combo onto Doublelift. So if Doublelift pops his cleanse early on a Wither or something, then you can follow it up with that stun. You do get the reduction after you use your cleanse on further CCs, but you definitely want to save it until you can get out of a stun.
And of course, trademark Doublelift, he's also built up the Negatron Cloak, looking for what I'm guessing is another Quicksilver Sash. I think it's probably his favorite item behind Berserker Greaves.
Yeah, he said he was trying out a bunch of different defensive items in their last 70-minute game.
Yeah.
It actually gave them some nice practice. Research. Here, Zuna's out of position.
Taking a little bit of pain right here. Where are they going to initiate? Yes, they are. Zuna taking the Requiem as well. Shields are on. That will make him survive, but he's at half health. ManCloud fires back as the artillery. Chowster low on health, forced to run back as well. Doublelift still holding the backline strong. Will they going to reinitiate? Double taking more damage from ManCloud, also down below half health. But Zuna, I don't know where the rest of his health went, but he got dropped incredibly low. Vulcan cannot fight this.
Yeah, he's definitely missing it, that's for sure. And Chowster as well didn't blow the Sona ultimate, so they still actually have that tool, even though he got so low. A lot of shots fired here, but nobody goes down.
So a really, really hectic battle. This game, the game's been like this the entire time. There's been hectic battles, a lot goes on, but the kill score doesn't change for it. The Baron dances, the close battles, the bursts that bring people to 10%. There's been like 17 almost kills.
Oh, North America, you silly goose, you. We're just big fans of these very long games right now, and they're definitely putting in the work. Everybody, for what it's worth, is at least getting a lot more experience, and they're testing a lot of the different shot calls and seeing how they come out. So since it is the beginning of the season, this is the time to do it. This is the time to take your chances and figure out what works for your team.
And you heard, of course, what Zion Spartan said about it as well, is that the LCS games themselves are different from scrims, that you don't get the same kind of practice because people go a lot more aggressive. People tend to be a little bit more defensive and passive here in the LCS games. There's a lot more on the line, but that's not very passive for Mandatory Cloud, bringing a lot of health bars down, from Double Lift.
Double Lift gets caught. Oh, some more harass coming out from ManCloud. They scare him right off of that Baron.
And another poke comes through. ManCloud has constantly been hitting those perfect long-range snipes, and Double has like no health right now. Nothing to lifesteal off of either. He's been forced back. Small power play for Vulcan.
All right, round 5 here. We're going to go straight up middle once again. Everybody's recalling for CLG, and a few more pot shots being taken at the inhibitor.
Here we go. Zuno puts some damage into Neon Tonso. He has an inhibitor available. He's shooting it. It's taking some damage onto the structures, but Double Lift shows back up, takes the Q to the face, and says, I'm going to lifesteal this. Don't you even try it.
Oh, yeah. Blade of the Ruined King, plenty of lifesteal here. Nien does get caught up a little bit, but there goes Big Fat LP.
And they crescendo the front line. Big Fat LP trying to be annoying, flashes away from a lot of the burst damage. Kago picks up the kill on Nasa's Link. Is going to drop down, but has his passive still to go. They're going to dive on for it. Psycho Sid taking the Requiem to the face. The rest of CLG still alive. They've traded 1 kill for 1. Vulcan, they're actually still holding strong in the front side here. They might keep pushing.
Double Lift just melted right through Nasus, but Link trying to get in there even with the flash. No Requiem going to be up for Karthus for a while now, and this is really Vulcan continuing to push now.
Neon on the backside, Double Lift there as well. Zuna could get caught out. The ult might be coming across. Big Fat LP half health. Neon Tonso taking damage down below half as well. No, it's going to be a disengage. There's just not enough hard crowd control for Vulcan to dive in on people.
I mean, they still have York ult available, so if they overextend it again and they try to engage, there's going to be that double Kog'Maw barrage from the back. That's just too much damage output.
Sid and ManCloud both wanted the Lantern, and ManCloud beat him to it. So Sid's got to take the long way back. Zuna, though, says, you know what, we've got map control. He's now going to open this. I feel like most of the Dragons this game have been like uncontested, where someone grabs them and the other team's not ready to stop them.
Love it when you are someone like Kalen too. You can just take it by yourself and then hop right over that wall. So get yourself out of harm's way. They do have a 1 ward still at Baron. And if you're playing against CLG, you always want to have a ward at Baron because they are just attracted to that thing like flies.
They really do love it. And of course, I'm trying to think if they have a lot of ways to hit it over the wall. Pretty much only Double can shoot it there. The rest have to walk through. I just remember a game where there was like a Thresh and an Ezreal and a bunch of guys who would just hop it and 4-man it from the backside. It was kind of fun to watch that one come out. But
hey, you can flash over that wall.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can flash over the wall, to be fair.
If you really want to, you can get in there.
Burn the 5-minute cooldown, 4.5 utility masteries, and take that one out. I want to see that. I want to see the 5 flash Baron strat.
Yeah,
I'm going to go flash fight on everyone. And
hey, guys, they'll never expect it since we don't have the right composition for it. It's all burn flash.
Dude, the one time someone does that, you're like, all right, that was deserved. That was well deserved.
And then they get aced inside the Baron pit. Here goes Vulcan's turn, though. They're actually going to start this one up. It's the sneaky 2-man Baron. Nasus is the perfect champion for that. And CLG actually might be losing at their own game here. It will Double Lift be able to get some vision in there with his ulti?
He's got ghouls.
Looks like the end will.
But
it's a little bit too late.
Aren't very close. It's going to be an attempted steal from Link if he can get it. Blue team has slain Baron Nashor. Naruto note goes off, but Big Fat was just not ready to go for this one. Vulcan have taken Baron finally. This might be their push.
That 2-man Baron, oh, so strong. Nasus ultimate, able to burn that one down. They won't have it for the fight, though.
No, but they did just burn the flash away from Double Lift, so his repositioning tools are actually cut down quite a bit.
No cleanse either.
40 seconds left on the Xerath ult. That might be a pause button for Vulcan. Right now with Baron, they're still happy to fight.
This inhibitor is really, well, never mind. They're going to take their time
really exposed.
Here. Now that we have the Baron buff on Vulcan, though, they'll actually not give up, and they'll stick around.
There's the pull on a Chaucer. A lot of damage. Crescendo comes across. Oh, Chaucer's forced to run away, but Double Lift is looking for a battle right here. Bloodwater falls down. The zombie mode used on Link, and he will keep chasing down. Can he get another Wall of Pain in time to slow the enemy team? Wall of Pain's in 1 second. Can he catch anyone out of this one? Looks for Zuna. Zuna has been slowed, but he's been pushed back so far. He won't get much. Now they dive in on ManCloud. They exhaust him. A lot of damage comes in from the crescendo and everything else. Neon forced to run away. A great fight here. Double it for Psycho Sid. Gonna pick up Big Fat LP as well. Everyone on CLG is dead except for Neon Tonsa, who's undead.
Zuna gets bombed with the Acathian surprise right there, and you have to say, the zombie of the zombie really cost them there. We had the Yorick ultimate go down on Link and got nothing out of it. All he was doing was a walking corpse, and they couldn't catch up to him. The wall didn't make much happen, and Double Lift could have used that extra life.
That is a little bit harsh then. So 3-on-1. Vulcan takes down that middle inhibitor and then looks for the top lane. They've got a minion wave here. This is their turret as well.
Easily going to be able to clear this one out, and that's more global gold for them. The map control is definitely solidified here for Vulcan.
And it's built themselves a 4,000 gold lead, which really in the grand scheme of things is not a heck of a lot. There's 60 grand on both these guys, and just 4,000 separates them. It's weird to watch these teams at work because you don't have the hardest of engage. You've got a lot of long-range poke really on the one side, and Vulcan is kind of trudging their way through the game, trying to find the openings on CLG. They're just barely making moves forward.
Yeah, so CLG definitely on the back foot now, but if there's one thing that you've learned from watching North American LCS, it's never give up, because the other team could always throw it.
Yeah, they could indeed. The blue buff being taken down right now. ManCloud doing a good amount of damage to it. He's going to take that safely. Link going to do the same on his side of the map.
So dangerous. Oh, goodness.
Oh, dear. Smithy and Bloodwater are right there. And yes, he has to back out. Smithy does have Smite. It should be taken pretty successfully there by the Vulcan jungler.
They don't end up chasing Link, though, so that was actually a lot better than it could have been. He gets out with his life, at least.
He does.
Gonna miss that blue buff, though.
He's gonna miss that a little bit. His mana is actually very, very low. He's gonna recall back right now. Has home guard. He'll be back in the mix soon enough. But he is still itemizing up. I want to keep track of how these carries are itemizing. We already know that Neon's going tanky, and he's getting there very successfully. You said Psycho Sid was gonna go for some extra resist. He's got the Frozen Heart. He's got the Negatron Cloak. He's scaling up as well.
Frozen Heart, another really strong aura to have if he can get close enough to Double Lift. The aura on it pretty short, you know, only that 600. So until you see a snowflake over Double Lift's head, it's actually not working for them.
So it's going to be one to look out for then. Is Double really effective? The only guy who really cares about attack speed. Big Fat wants to be annoying, not an attack speed based damage dealer. So see what it means for these guys. Mandatory Cloud still poking through. Thing is, they actually do have wards over the wall, so ManCloud has enough vision to spot for these guys.
It's interesting that, you know, the CLG double threat composition that they're known for actually gets us another semi-threat with the Yorick ultimate. So as long as he does put that on Double Lift, then they're going to have...
And they're going to dive right on in. Mandatory Cloud taking a bunch of pain. Big Fat's going to solo him out there, so the rest of the fight's on the right-hand side. Crescendo comes across. Link is still diving forward. They've picked up 1 kill so far, traded 1 for 1, but Link is undead, chasing out for more blood, more damage. ManCloud still getting feared up, but Psycho Sid goes to help out against Big Fat LP, putting a lot of punishment onto him. Spin's going to get dropped down. Double Lift is still untouched. He's at half health, and now the chase onto ManCloud. They've got the shutdown here from Link. The rocket comes across. Psycho Sid shields, but he's going to drop as well. Zuna finds 1 kill, but now he's being chased. Double from across the wall, might look for something else, and Zuna falls over. That is now an ace for Counter Logic Gaming.
This time the zombie on Link was a good call because they already had slows down and he could stay in the fight after that. The moving defile definitely paid off right there, able to get all that AoE damage out before he went down the second time. And CLG, again, the swings in this game really shouldn't be a surprise at this point. Every single CLG game, back and forth, back and forth. We're not even to 50 minutes yet, man. This is still early game.
Exactly. 47 minutes in, and well, we've gotten a couple inhibitors cracked, but the team fight is still going back and forth in this one. CLG, they've got just that 1 inhib down. The other ones are still protected by turrets, so for as much as Vulcan is sieging, I mean, they're making very few moves in. Double Lift, he's going to find his own turret to pick up here, but that's only 3 turrets picked up for Counter Logic Gaming.
You know, you got to take baby steps there, Freak. He's got to get one at a time, one at a time. They do get down the last bottom one outside of the base. And Double Lift now, he's doing so much work for his team, grabbing up objectives left and right. He's going to go solo this dragon. It looks like we may have an answer from Bloodwater here, but we'll have to see if he can actually steal it with some puny death sentence. Doesn't look like he'll even try.
Nah, so let's take a look back at the items then for these guys. So Double Lift has been doing a lot of work. He's got like 1,800 gold, 1,900 gold in his pockets right now. He actually went for the Banshee's Veil and did add the Last Whisper finally to his inventory. He's pretty much done on buying things.
He's been trying every single defensive item as the last defensive item for an AD carry, and it looks like, you know, being able to have the bubble prevent a spell instead of having to use something like a Mercurial Scimitar reactively is an interesting choice, because you don't actually have to worry about using it after, and you prevent all the damage that would be dealt with whatever that first spell is that hits you. If it's Mandatory Cloud Stun, that's definitely a better choice, because if that thing hits you, it's a huge chunk out of your life as well.
Doublelift actually made another interesting choice as well. He sold the Blade of the Ruin King, grabbed a Bloodthirster, so decided the self-heal wasn't worth it, added more damage to his side. Meanwhile, Zuna has grabbed his own Ruin King, and he's actually going for the Mercurial Scimitar.
Some interesting style choices here. It's definitely adds to the tension, I guess, because we keep on having these end game builds switch up game to game. Last time we saw Link sell his boots, buy a Zanya, sell the Zanyas, go back to the boots because he wanted the home guard, felt that he needed that movement speed, and then sell them again and go with the Guardian Angels. You never know once you get to these points what people prioritize. Now another exposed inhibitor fight here, and the poke from Vulcan is going to be focused on Nien here actually for the first time.
Yeah, it takes a couple of damage points off, but Nien Tanso, I mean, to give you an update on his stats, 170 magic resist and 3,400 life. If Xerath can one-shot him, I just don't think Xerath can one-shot him.
So it's actually Xerath just trying to get the ticks onto Yorick because he's got a Leandries now. So if you just tag him with one spell, you can burn him down as a percentage of that HP. And it's very, very effective to get a first hit on every single one of the champions because it's current health.
Well, it looks like Vulcan have gone for a new objective though this time. The mid lane wasn't quite working out, so instead, Devil's going to Banshee's Veil block the Xerath Q, but they were looking at Baron this time around, and now CLG are forced to defend this part of the map. However, there's a big minion wave at the bottom side lane.
My goodness, we still have an exposed inhibitor to go after, but they instead retreat to the dangerous area, and there's the Flash Crescendo missing.
Yeah, flashed away by ManCloud. They wanted to open up on him, but couldn't quite do it. The answer back though on a Chouster is very, very painful. Nien will block some of that damage. The Banshee's back up here for Doublelift. Vulcan say, look, we got some damage on you and your crescendo's down. Let's engage. The slow into Big Fat, dropping him lower and lower, down to 2,000 health. Oh, the max range hook, but Link wants to go in. He gets dropped down immediately. Will they re-engage? I don't think they maybe should.
Oh,
the box comes
no.
across. Big shields come out, though, from Vulcan. This is a 5v4 power play. They caught up to Chouster. Chouster goes down as well. 5v3, this could be it.
That was a terrible, terrible fight for CLG right there. Link, please, too close. He got rune prisoned up, and he was sentenced to death.
He was indeed sentenced to death. The inhibitor goes down, but Vulcan says, base, what base? We want bottom lane.
What base? That's part of their base too. They'll go
yeah, okay, sorry. I thought they were going to go Baron, and they went bottom, and I was like, oh, I set that up so poorly. The bottom
there
lane.
we go. We're going to start the siege up, and we still have Caitlyn, so that means turrets mean nothing.
Turrets are going to fall over. That's number 8 right here picked up there for Vulcan. So only the top lane inhibitor turret and the Nexus turrets are remaining for this Counter Logic Gaming lineup. Second inhib has fallen down. They've got a couple of minutes here of minions starting to flood into the CLG base.
We've seen so many games with 2 inhibitors down come back, though. And look at this. Gold dead even at 52 minutes in. Kills dead even at 52 minutes in. This really, you can't call the game still.
You really, really can't. Vulcan they've been looking like they're winning for most of it, I gotta say. They had a couple of good early leads. They've been up in turrets the entire time. The Baron went to them. They've been the aggressors. But CLG always finds some way to turn those team fights back around. The game of throws is still afoot, really.
I mean, that last team fight doesn't really tell much for the current power levels because it was Link totally getting blasted down before anyone else was able to do anything. So that really was not telling, right? We're going to have a much longer extended team fight next time, and we'll have to see how Nien chooses to use that Yorick ultimate this time. Looks like a little cheeky Baron over the wall. Won't pay off. Blue ping's going down really quickly.
Man, Vulcan definitely knows about this, but the wards are still getting swept out. Thing is, Chouster, he'll take some poke, but I don't know how much he really, really cares.
They softened it up for Smithy!
Oh my gosh, it's so low. They do have to make sure that Big Fat LP can join the fight. They are all around. The ults come across. Double takes a bunch of pain right there. Dropped dangerously low. He's down to 600 health right there, and has to run towards the double
Baron
to life steal.
It isn't healing.
Oh my gosh, Baron, yes, it's so low as well. 4,000 health on it, and it's taking damage from Thornmail once in a while to keep it from regenerating as well, but no one's quite starting the fight. Vulcan doesn't want to battle this either. They poke on a Big Fat LP, and Nien Tanso puts ghouls down. CLG might do another across the wall Baron attempt, but Chouster's been revealed by a cupcake.
Oh no, Nien now is by himself in the Baron pit. That was not the right way to go, my friend.
No, he drops off the wall, but he's still going to go down. Link chunked as well, and Doublelift might be forced to run. Mandatory Cloud is going to keep people away. Baron's still taking damage. I don't know if Vulcan are trying to risk the steal, though. They're kind of waiting around. They're finally going back in.
LP has his ult.
Can he go for it? The wards have gone down. The poke comes across. This is going to be the blue team Baron. Once again, Vulcan takes it up.
Nien, that was the wrong neighborhood to wander into. Very, very dangerous neighborhood, that Baron pit, and he paid for that with his life. Couldn't get back to the edge to try and get out.
Baron pit is the Compton of Summoner's Rift. You don't want to be caught out there on the wrong side, and that just went poorly. So Vulcan, they're making their way top lane. They've got the other inhibitor so far. Last one left, top lane. Let's siege it down.
Speaking of dangerous, LA neighborhoods, we have, what, 5 shootings in Santa Monica? It's almost even as dangerous over here. But it looks like that's going to be the edge that Vulcan need to make their way towards the last standing turret.
And they're going to look for it
Inhibitor
right here.
turret.
Inhibitor turret, indeed. The last thing inhibitor here. Defend it up. Zuna's going to take a little bit of poke from Double. Chowster's there. The rest of CLG are alive. The zombie ult is up. In fact, every single ultimate on the map is available for these guys when they want to throw down. Even summoner spells, we've got most of them back. Nien's boosting a flash. That's pretty much it for these guys. ManCloud's got his back. All summoners, all ults. This is everything available.
And you're right, we did have a QSS picked up here by Caitlyn. So Zuna is going to be able to get out of, whatever, tether he gets in. If it's Big Fat LP diving him, he'll be just fine. He's mobile right now, and there's not that many other dive buddies for Big Fat LP. He's not threatening at all because he always goes full tank like this. A Nocturne jumping into the back line on Caitlyn.
We're looking for the
Not
secret
gonna do
there.
much.
Poke onto Link. The crescendo comes across. Nien gets Rune Prison. Here comes the engage. Can they get enough damage across? Big Fat goes into the back line. A lot of damage from the Requiem, but Big Fat LP is going to get exploded right there. This is going to make it a 5-on-4, and Vulcan are not done. They still look bloodthirsty. The minions are flooding into the CLG base. They're just trying to buy some time right here. Kato comes across into Nien Tanso. The rest of CLG forced to back up to defend their Nexus. That turret is still losing health, and the top inhibitor is forfeited. Vulcan's going to take that one down as well. They might keep moving into the base.
All those tanking items mean nothing at 55 minutes into the game, and here we go, Vulcan.
They're trying to explode Nien Tanso and then forced back down onto the Nexus. 5v4. This could be theirs indeed. Double makes a stand, but can't quite pick up the kill. Soda's going to fall down as well. Nexus will drop, and Vulcan will finally take the game over in 56 minutes.
What a quick game there for CLG. Actually, they go down this time, so another loss. 56 more minutes of practice, though, in their new roles.
And I gotta say though, as far as 56-minute games are concerned, the ones who hold it on the entire time and carry the team, they tended to be there on Vulcan. Mandatory Cloud, 9-2-3, 19,500 gold. Xerath, he pretty much opened everything for the squad in this game.
Mandatory Cloud, he really has been the star of Vulcan. Talked about it coming into the summer split, and he lived up to the hype. We talk about this Cloud9 hype. The Mandatory hype train is also, rolling out of the station now.
Cloud 10, I think is going to be Mandatory Cloud's unofficial name right here, because he's definitely on another level right now. Did an amazing job in this game. And I don't know, it's a story I kind of want to talk about. CLG, a little bit new to their roles. We saw guys getting caught out once in a while, like these little weird mistakes that make the game frustrating.
New to your role has nothing to do with being caught out. I just want to say that right there. That's a general game knowledge mistake that happens, and wandering into Compton definitely dangerous, as we've discussed. So the Baron pit, Nien was unable to escape, and that was really the nail in the coffin for that CLG team.
So a couple of unfortunate events for CLG. We'll see if they can bounce back in the rest of the weeks. Of course, we have plenty more action, both today and later on. So we're going to take a short break. But when we return, Vulcan's ManCloud will join us to talk about their takedown of CLG. Then, Chat will return to Replay Central to drop some knowledge. Don't go anywhere. Week 1 of the North American LCS. We'll be right back.